and welcome back to this second hour of this Tuesday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. I am Brian Fisher, your host. This is Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on conservative talk radio. Just looking at our Twitter feed. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I encourage you to do it. Brian J. Fisher is my handle. And got a pretty vigorous debate really all morning on Twitter as I have been responding to some Twitter reactions, some replies to my tweets. I've been responding to them. If people are just snarky or they use profanity or obscenity, I'm not going to waste my time with that. But there occasionally people will try to actually make some kind of response to something I've said in a tweet. And so I will try to clarify or amplify or reaffirm whatever the case happens to be. But pretty vigorous reaction to my statement that Jesus was a capitalist, that Jesus was an economic libertarian, which is very clear from his parables that he was. He believed in meritocracy. He brought his employees in and gave them talents. And he gave them a different number of talents based on their proven ability. He says, I think I can trust you to do something with 10 talents. I believe in you, but you don't quite have the track record that employee A does. So I'm going to give you 5 talents, and you're just starting out, and I'm not sure I can trust you at all. So I'm going to give you 1 talent and see what you do with it. And then he says, look, I'm going on a journey, and I'm expecting you to put this money to work. I'm expecting you to go out and make something happen with the money that I have put at your disposal. And when I come back, I'm going to see how you did. I'm going to hold you accountable for whether you took my resources and invested them and returned a profit. He was interested in a return on his investment. And he was not happy when he had an employee that squandered, was lazy, wasted his energy, buried the money in the backyard, and he praised those that made a return on his investment. And so he believed in meritocracy. He believed in hard work. He believed in self-reliance. He believed in rewarding those that worked hard and brought added value to the enterprise. So there's no question. Jesus was a capitalist. He was an economic libertarian. Now, a couple of stories. We're going to get to sound bites here in a second, power through a batch of them, but I typically like to start with some values-oriented stuff, and you may want to weigh in on this, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. I have felt for a long time that Christianity Today is pretty well gone. This is a magazine that once was a beacon of a biblical truth, but they have been completely compromised on the issue of feminism. And Christianity Today now presents a feminized gospel. The masculinity that's in the gospel, that's in the life of Jesus, has virtually been leached out of the version of Christianity that Christianity Today presents. And here's a case in point, and you might want to weigh in on this. Here's an entire piece. The title of the piece posted today by Karen Rivadeneira. I'm not familiar with her, but the title of the piece is God Made Boys to Play with Dolls. That's the title of the piece, and the whole thing is about how we ought to encourage our sons to play with dolls, that's a part of preparing them for fatherhood. Get them to play with dolls. Enough of this trucks and guns business. Get your boys to play with dolls because that's what God made them for. I mean, that's the title of the piece. God made boys to play with dolls. Now, and what she completely misses, and she talks about a number of cases in the Bible where you have the very masculine figure cradling a child in his arms. And what she misses is that children love to be cuddled by their mothers for different reasons than they love to be cuddled by their fathers. Children love to be cuddled by their mothers because they are soft. There is something nurturing, and they feel that when they sink into the arms of their mothers. God designed them for that, gave them a unique capacity to be nurturers. But children, young children, love to be cuddled by their fathers because they are strong. There's comfort there. There is security when their fathers use their masculine strength to surround them. They feel secure. They feel protected. So I think and Christianity today, I think, and much of modern Christianity has become completely feminized. I mean, there is no room in much of modern Christianity for a Jesus who would cleanse the temple, who would make a rope out of cords, who would commit an act of violence, overturn tables, drive people and money changers and animals out of the temple precincts. They've got no room in their Christianity for a Jesus like that. For them, Jesus is nothing but gentle Jesus, meek and mild. So you might want to react to that. God made boys to play with dolls. That's in Christianity today. You've actually got a major publication that's got Christianity in the title saying that God made boys to play with dolls. It's just another example of what I think is the feminizing of Christianity. Now, I want to be sure. I mean, dads love providing that for their kids. You know, when Jana was first born, I remember, Debbie can confirm this, when I came home, Jana was my firstborn. She was my daughter. She was my princess. She was so precious to me. Cannot tell you how precious she was and still is to me. I mean, that never changes, but she was so helpless, so tiny, so vulnerable. And when I came home from work, what I loved to do is I just pick her up and I would cradle her in my arm, my left arm, while I ate. And she could fit between the palm of my hand and the crook of my elbow. And I would just hold her there. I would hold her there for the entire meal. I would eat holding her in my left arm. And I would just eat with my right hand because I just could not wait to cuddle her and to hold her. But again, I believe, and I think she loved that, whether, you know, whatever level she's able to appreciate that when they're newborns. But there's something sensory that's going on there that I think gets to them in their soul, gets to them in their spirit, even gets to them in their mind as it's being framed, that they've got a father who is strong and is willing to use his strength to protect them. They have a mother who is a nurturer, who is soft. And both of those together, moms providing what only moms can provide, and mothers providing what only women can provide. So I'd love to know what you think about that whole deal. God, I mean, I can't get over it. How feminized a version of Christianity do these folks at Christianity Today believe? God made boys to play with dolls. Good grief. Now, I came across a piece by Russ Vaughn. Again, this is on the values issues, talking about an unintended consequence of females in the infantry. And I won't have time to finish this off. But Russ Vaughn makes the point. He was an experienced leader of an infantry platoon. He's talking about women in the military. And he says the lowest leadership position in an infantry platoon, which is what we're talking about, putting women in these positions, is that of a fire team leader. Now, I don't have military experience, so I'm just reading what this guy wrote about his experience. The fire team consists of the leader and 3 or 4 low-ranking soldiers. To get that first leadership promotion, a soldier must demonstrate performance that his superiors believe sets him apart from and above those other members of the fire teams. And the key thing, he says, there is stamina, physical strength. Female soldiers just don't have it. Back in 2.